Sample single is another one of the very useful features of Fabric Decorator. It's basically going to instance one single object or a pool of objects on a specific point. Now, to create these points, what we can do is that we can let's go to frame 1 because I'm using the still object to transfer my patterns, and let's go to edit mode. As you can see, I can simply just click once with the draw tool and it's going to create my point, and I can use this to create my samples. Now, selecting this might be a bit difficult because it's a Bezier curve right now, so I can select it, go to set a spline type and make it poly, so it's much easier to move it around. And as you can see, I'll explain in a moment what this glitch is. If we come to the sample single settings, the global settings for sample single doesn't make any sense, so we are not going to talk about this because they are not useful when we are working with sample single. The first thing we have is a selection, so just like sample along curve, we can go to single, for example. We could change the sample type to flowers and select a specific single flower, or we could choose stones, and we could decide whether they have prongs or not. And we have buttons, and just like before, we could choose whether they have a stitching or not. And we have a custom object which could be any object that you have created. For this case, let's go back to pool so that we are selecting from a pool, and we are selecting by index and not randomly. We have something called deform to surface. Now, what deform to surface does is that it takes the curvature of your fabric or your object and it's going to deform our flowers to take that same curvature. This is most useful when we are working with soft objects and not hard objects like these gems here. This is a plastic flower, so it's going to very likely take the shape of the pantyhose in this case. Then we have something called dips, which allows us to change the dips of these flowers. In this case, 0.5 is very good. And then we have the deform transfer method. Right now it's fast, so we could just select this, move it around, and it's very fast. But as you can see, it's going to make some glitches here. Now, the reason this glitch is happening is because right here on this fabric, I have a UV seam. So to avoid getting errors on these UV seams, we can change the deform method to exact, and we no longer have that problem. They are still going to take the shape of the fabric, but they are not going to have any problems with UV seams or UV borders. It's going to be much heavier and much more performance heavy, but it is going to fix that problem. And as you can see, we no more have the option of changing the depths of them. Then we have reset normals, which basically resets the normals of the object we are instancing to make sure we are not getting any shading artifacts. Now, in this case, we are not getting any, so I don't need to check this. But in some cases, you may get some artifacts, and you might want to check reset normals. We have a scale type, we have random, non-uniform, and uniform. Random is obviously going to change the size of these points randomly, and uniform is obviously uniform. We have rotate, which is simply the rotation of them. We could also rotate our instances by using Ctrl-T to tilt the spline, or use Alt-S to change the size of the spline or the radius of the spline. Then we have random rotation X, which randomly rotates them on the X-axis of them. And then we have random rotation Y, which adds a little subtle variation to the rotation. It's not that useful, but in some cases you might want to add that variation to create more realism. And then we have offset, which is simply the offset of the flowers so that they are not overlapping with the fabric. Then we have override material, which again, as long as we have two materials, we can select this override material and we can change the primary material to, for example, in this case, flower large blue, and then secondary material to pearl gold. And you can see the results here. And that was sample single. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.